Hey, beast that thing. BTTN, BDE, best damn evaluations. We got our position rankings for the NFL 2025 NFL Draft. It is March 27th. Just to put a timestamp on it, I got top 20, top 25 at positions. I think tight end is just like top 10. You got grades. I got a big board coming out soon, but essentially you can kind of get an idea of what the big board is based off the grades. So I got grades all around the place for these positions. Let's rotate this light a little bit. Rotate this light. Oh no, it's not looking at me. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. Yeah, gotta light myself up like a fucking Christmas tree. Gotta accentuate the features. Ain't that right, David? Like you gotta show off that big old cock of yours. I gotta show off this lovely, round, unsymmetrical face and crooked ass nose. Look at that. What are you pointing to? What are you pointing? What's going on here? I don't know. Fuck it. You know, got a face for radio and a voice for the hearing impaired. Oh, best damn evaluations, BTTN. Like and subscribe. I'm going to try not to cuss too much or be too offensive. Anyways, let's get to it. So we're going to start with the wide receivers, I guess, huh? All right. We're going to do separate videos for all of them. So let's get the face cam up, I guess. We'll start. We'll do it for a second. As you can see, the grades are to the far right. I wish I could upload this. I got a Word document that has NFL Draft Guide. S tier is 97 plus. That's a super tier. Projected day one starter in the NFL. A row favorite, rookie of the year favorite, and a generational talent / future Hall of Famer. Obviously, you can't predict that. I haven't played a fucking game yet, but talent wise, valuation wise, just prospect grade wise, that's what I see. You know, just give you, I guess, a little example of what those are. Cam Newton had 100. Robert Griffin III had 100. Michael Vick had 100 at quarterback. Trevor Lawrence had 99. Andrew Luck had a 99. Justin Fields had a 99. Joe Burrow had a 98. C.J. Stroud had a 98. Josh Allen had a 98. Drake May, Ben Roethlisberger, and Lamar Jackson all had 97s. Adrian Peterson was a perfect 100. Saquon Barkley was a perfect 100. Calvin Johnson was a perfect 100. That's the only receiver with a perfect 100. Marvin Harrison was a 99. Brock Bowers and Kyle Pitts were both 100. Vernon Davis was a 99. Joe Thomas was 100. Orlando Pace was 100. Trent Williams was a 99. Jonathan Ogden, Laramie Tunsil. Oh, wait, Joe Alt was a 99 too. Evan Neal, Penei Sewell, Laramie Tunsil, and Jonathan Ogden were all 98s. Myles Garrett was a 99. Juice Peppers was 100. Will Anderson Jr. was 100. J.J. Watt 97, Leonard Williams 97, Mario Williams 98. Dominican Sue was 100. Halati Nada was 99. Jordan Davis was 99. Luke Kuechly was 100. LeVar Arrington was a 99. Michael Parsons was a 99. Isaiah Simmons was a 99. He's probably not a future Hall of Famer. That's one of the first busts. Evan Neal too, I guess. Evan Neal was a bust. O.J. Howard was a 97, I guess. That was a bust. Where's Charles Rogers at? Charles Rogers, I think. I didn't write him down. Charles Rogers probably would have been like a 98. Reggie Bush was a 97. That was a bust. Leonard Fournette was a 97. That was a bust. I guess some of the quarterbacks busted. It depends. I mean, Michael Vick and Robert Griffin definitely looked good, but you had dogfighting and then an injury. for those two respectively. Andrew Luck retired kind of early, also injury. I don't really know where Cam Newton ended up. I'm hesitant to throw 100 on. I put 100 on Cam Newton, Michael Vick. I did like mobile quarterbacks, and I do remember Cam Newton at Auburn. I mean, he's a fucking junior college transfer from Blinn. He was at Florida originally, and then like stole a laptop or something and got dismissed from the team. I liked him. He was like a 5-star, borderline 5-star recruit, supposed to be the heir apparent to Tim Tebow. And he had a Tim Tebow type college career. And then set the NFL on fire his rookie year. He had like 4 consecutive 400-yard games or something. I don't know. He was set the fantasy world on fire too. So I don't want to completely. And he single-handedly kind of won a national championship with Auburn. Auburn didn't have the most stacked team. They had a good defense, and he was pretty much it on offense. Patrick Peterson was 100. Jalen Ramsey was 100. Sean Taylor was 100. Charles Woodson was 99. Champ Bailey at 98. Derek Stingley at 98. Patrick Surtain the second, 97. Antoine Cromartie 97. Just to give you an idea of the grade. So 97 plus is S tier. Future Hall of Famer, generational talent, rookie of the year favorite, day one starter. A tier is 96 to 94, projected day one starter, college All-American or All-Conference player. Got good production, tested very well at a combine or pro day. Could be a guy who was a top 50 recruit, who didn't produce as well as expected, but showed insane talent and the ability to impact games in a special way that could translate to better NFL production. 96-94 is a first-round talent, meaning they would be a first-round pick in any draft. So 94 or higher is a first-round talent, basically. So I guess 93 to 90, 93, 88 to 93 is a B tier. That's like a future starter, late first, early third round player, maybe. 87 to 82 is a C tier player. It's like a third to fifth round player. 81 to 75 is D tier. It's fifth round to undrafted free agent. And then 74 below is F tier. Just to give you the tiers. So it is kind of a tier list based off the grades that I have. So based off that, we have 3 first-round talents in my mind, and one's borderline as a 94. So that's Matthew Golden. And that's it for the first round. Pretty much, I mean, 88 to 93 is a first, late first, early third. We don't have any 93s. We got 2 92s. 91, so they're borderline first rounders in my mind, but not first round talents. They wouldn't be first round picks in any draft. And Matthew Golden might be, might not be. I feel like how he tested and how he produced, he would be. Also his film, I mean, but the 1 year production, and it was kind of the second half of the year. The first half of the year, I mean, it was inconsistent, I guess, all season. But you also had inconsistent quarterback play with Quinn Ewers getting injured and Arch Manning coming in, and Isaiah Bond kind of being the starter originally with Jonte Cook. Then Jonte Cook getting dismissed from the team, and Isaiah Bond getting a twisted ankle. You also had Ryan Wingo as a true freshman stepping up, and then DeAndre Moore as a sophomore. Gunnar Helm as a tight end, had a good season. And yeah, it was up and down for Golden a little bit, but it was kind of down and then up. It really wasn't like inconsistent like that. It was kind of consistently getting better as the year went on. In my opinion, but so my wide receiver 1 is Travis Hunter. Wide receiver 2, Ted McMillan. I got them both as pretty high prospects. Ted is just barely missing the super tier. Travis Hunter, I think, is a 99 overall prospect, but I think he's a 98 individually as a wide receiver and a corner. But the fact that he plays both and he's that good at both, he's a 99. He's the number one prospect on my board. I don't think I have any hundreds in this draft. I might have given him 100. I don't know. Just because of that. And as a wide receiver, man, he could be a 99 or 100 if I knew he was just going to play wide receiver. And maybe the same thing at corner. I do think he's a better wide receiver than corner, though, personally. Like I said, I'll do some mock drafts on the big board here in a little while. I just want to get some of my position groups out the way first before I do the whole thing. I got this green background. Hopefully it's not too hard on the eyes or too annoying. Uploaded an Excel fucking table which has holes because not everyone competed at the combine, so we don't have mile per hour, 40-yard dash, or 10-yard combine. The 20 yards is the 20-yard shuttle, not the 20-yard split. And then GMPH is the gauntlet, the miles per hour in the gauntlet drill, which has been kind of a popular thing recently that we've been using with Puka Nacua and other prospects. We like to use it to try to find diamonds in the rough or justify some people, or maybe not justify, but to find people who are good at catching and running full speed or whatever. We don't seem to hurt people that don't do it poorly, because Luther Burden is one of the slowest. Yet people said his combine was a win. He had one of the slowest miles per hour. Out of all of the 40s, only ran 140. Didn't even run 2. It was a 4.42 originally. But that was unofficial. Officially, it ended up being a 4.41. Which I think a lot of the official times ended up being faster than the unofficial time. He also had one of the slowest splits of someone who ran a 40 that fast. So one of the slowest miles per hour out of the 4.4s, and one of the slowest 10-yard splits out of like the sub 4.45s. Although below him, Kyle Williams has a 1.55 split, slightly worse, with a better 40 time and better mile per hour, better gauntlet, and he jumped pretty good too. I really do want to put Kyle Williams ahead of him, and Jalen Lane, and Trey. I mean, I really don't like Luther Burden. I can't stress that enough. But at some point, I have to draw a line and be like, okay, I can't be off of him this much. Yeah, he's got some red flags. He really wouldn't even be on my draft board. But at some point, if he's still around, I have to kind of okay, maybe he's worth the risk right here. All the red flags, all the concerns, all the things I don't see on tape, the lack of, nuance for the position, or experience or appreciation for the position, the lack of route running, the lack of, assertiveness when it comes to catching the ball or attacking the ball, lack of production, consistency, some of the on-field manner, or throwing mouthpieces, throwing balls at dudes' helmets, hitting a dude in the helmet, just kind of quitting, it looks like, on routes and on in games sometimes, like the Auburn game. I mean, he has a muff punt and just disappears after that. I mean, the muff punt happened, I think, in the second quarter, and there's nothing. I mean, he just looks uninterested, and I don't know. You don't want to say too much about these dudes because they're young men. I mean, they're men technically, but they're basically kids. I mean, they're still developing, not only as football players, but as human beings. So I don't expect their character or their maturity to be maxed out right here. He's one of the youngest in the draft. He's got a lot of room to grow, not only as a football player, route runner, wide receiver, but also as an individual, as a man. So, yeah, his story isn't written. It's not done by no means, but I think I'm okay not being a part of it also. At least I'd rather be a part of some of these other dudes' stories instead. But like I said, I did put him at 16, even though I easily could take Kyle Williams, Jalen Lane, Trey Harris, Dante Thornton, Jordan Watkins. I could take any one of those dudes over him. Keandre Lambert-Smith. Honestly, I like all the wide receivers outside of the top 10 as much as I like the ones in the top 10. The ones in the top 10, the ones I'm most likely to bet on that I really kind of want to, hitch my wagon to, beat my chest for. But none of these are, a can't miss prospect. None of these are like a perfect prospect. Due to the poor quarterback play and the poor passing stats and just lack of explosive offenses that a lot of these dudes were a part of, it's kind of hard to really see. And then some were part of extremely explosive offenses, and you don't know if it was just scheme or, a plethora of weapons that the defense just couldn't handle. And then some of them had insane volume, and I mean, with that much volume, you're going to perform. I mean, Ted had amazing volume. Ty Felton had amazing volume. Travis Hunter had amazing volume. So that's where you got to look at the film. You got to look at things to, try to see what they did with the volume. Whether it was earned, whether it was created, whether it was just manufactured. I mean, if it's earned, that's him. That's the wide receiver, making plays, making catches. A quarterback, offense coordinator, head coach having faith in him to call his number so much, or it's him beating coverage and getting open and finding holes in zone to, warrant that much targets or that much volume. So that's kind of him earning it and creating it, I guess. He's either earning it out of trust and faith and, making plays, or he's creating it by just getting open and finding space and always being an outlet for the quarterback. Or it's manufactured in the case of, in my opinion, Luther Burden, where it's a lot of screens and jet sweeps and maybe crossing routes, a lot of short behind or at the line of scrimmage plays, a lot of opportunities in space, a lot of design screens though where you're getting blockers out in front. I mean, you watch this film, there's a number of plays where offensive linemen are just going upfield, so much so that it looks like an eligible player downfield. One of them, I think, hit one of the offensive linemen in the back of the head. He's running some inside middle screen behind the center and two guards as they leak out. He's supposed to catch the ball and go flow right in behind him. They called that number several times that you see in 2024. So many design touches for him that I don't think will be there in the NFL. I don't think every team will be willing to do or can afford to give him that. And also, Missouri, with all that, he didn't produce much. You can look at his missed tackles forced, 35, 34, whatever it is. And even with that, he only managed 600 yards receiving. 60, 70 yards receiving. I don't know. That's not a lot. The amount of air yards is minimal. I guess 7 yards after the catch, but he's catching the ball at the line of scrimmage or 2 or 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage. You're going to get yards after the catch with that. So, that's what it is. But I'm real high on Jaden Higgins. That catch rate, 80 inch wingspan. He's number 4 on my list. 33 and a 1/8 inch arms, 4.47 40, 39 inch vertical, 19.14 miles per hour in the gauntlet. Ibuka, like him too. No testing for him, but I'm seeing reports where they think he's going to run the 4.3s. I don't know if we have any GPS mile per hour data on him, which is kind of wild considering how explosive the Ohio State offense is and has been since he's been there. Typically, Real Analytics does mile per hour data on any big plays, and there's a lot of GPS technology out there that can track that shit too. We don't seem to have a lot on Ibuka, I don't think. Ty Felton, he's one of those guys that had tons of volume. Honestly, when I watch Ty Felton, he looks like a lot of people say Burden looks. Now I'm concerned because of the small. Well, he's not a chance in small, but he doesn't have a plus wingspan. He doesn't have long arms. His catch radius isn't huge, but he does have a nice vertical. He gets open. He can generate separation. And kind of like Burden, yeah, he did get some passes at the line of scrimmage, but he was able to beat coverage and run a variety of routes. He did that because the defense was scared of him. The defense had soft coverage on him a lot because they were scared of getting beat deep. So instead of that, he was running like hitches and comebacks, or little curls, or smoke screens, where he would just basically get the reception immediately off the line of scrimmage because the cornerback was 10, 11 yards off of him. Or he was so quick to turn his hips and start sprinting downfield that it was just an easy pitch and catch, where he could also get out in space and beat someone and get some missed tackles and make some defenders miss. And he does that exceptionally well. He has home run ability with that 4.3 speed and that 23.4 mile per hour speed, or top speed that you see. Explosion at 1.51 split. And with the jumping and stuff, he can high point the ball. He's got some contested catch ability, even with the shorter catch radius. He's got solid hands. Some try to say he's weak on press coverage and that he's weak at the catch point. I didn't see a lot of that, but in all honesty, I didn't get an all targets view of him. I don't have all 22 tape of Maryland. I just watched the highlight reel. I did notice that his volume was super high, and I think he had 90 catches on 160 targets, which is not a great catch percentage, but I also know his quarterback wasn't good. His team wasn't that good. So there's context to it. Not all those throws were catchable. I saw him beat press coverage a number of times, though. I mean, I saw him produce against every team. Every game he was a factor. He made an impact. He made some plays. He was a threat. Obviously, some more than others, but the competition or level of competition didn't seem to change his ability to produce or beat defenders. And I can't say the same about Luther Burden and others, but so I got him number 6. I'm kind of really high on Tyfeld, much higher than anyone else in the industry. Jalen Knoll, he's number 7 overall. And mind you, there's not big gaps. I mean, as you can see, like Tyfeld's 91, Jalen Knoll's a 90. Then you got 289s and 388s. So my wide receiver 12 is an 88, and my wide receiver 5 is a 92. That's the same tier, I believe, right? Isn't that the same tier? 88 to 92? 88 to 93 is B tier. So, yeah, the wide receiver 4 and my wide receiver 12 are the same tier. Like, there's not a big gap in between these guys because of that. I mean, the situation, the offense, the opportunity, the quarterback play, the usage. And then, you look at the numbers, the testing, and you watch the film and you see, the testing show up on film. You see hands, you see the ability to get open, you see the ability to make people miss and make plays in the open field, you see the ability to get contested catches and be a red zone threat. It's hard to really decipher between them, in my opinion. I mean, Savon Williams spent half the year as a running back, basically, or half his time on the field as a running back. In loaded boxes. I mean, so I don't know. Jalen Knoll and Jaden Higgins were both together, so they're splitting touches. But when you watch the film, you see them making plays and looking good. Iman Noor, I mean, no one really had a worse quarterback situation than him. Between Ashton Daniels and Elijah Brown, a true freshman from Mater Dei. Yeah, he had a lot of shit to deal with, and that team was awful. The offense was awful. I think they threw for a combined 2,700 yards or something. I mean, there wasn't a lot of opportunity there. And, with shell coverage or double coverage or whatever, defenses were able to kind of take him out of the game because there was no other threat. And he didn't have a quarterback to throw downfield. I mean, and he still produced as good as Luther Burden. And he led his team. Unlike Luther Burden. I mean, Loveland led his team with the same roughly stats as Luther Burden. I don't get the Luther Burden love, honestly. I'm going to keep doing jabs Luther Burden probably. Because I know that's the one I'm going to get a lot of hate on. That's the one where I really stand apart from the rest of the community. The film matches up with the stats, honestly, in a bad way. So we got Isaac Tesla. Super efficient what he had. I wish his catch radius was bigger. Be 6'4" and only a 76 3/4, 77-inch wingspan, 33 and an 1/8 inch arms. But he does have big hands. He's got a decent top speed, faster than Luther Burden. He ran a 4.4 340. He has a 1.51 10-yard split. Also better than Burden, and a 4.05 20-yard shuttle, the fastest out of the bunch, or at least out of my top 25. And a 6.85 3-cone. That's like the third fastest, well, fourth fastest, not fifth fastest, I guess. You got 6.75, 6.82, 6.82, 6.85, and 6.84. So yeah, but 6'4", 214. That's none of the other dudes are that size. So that's very impressive. And then 39.5-inch vertical, 40-inch vertical, basically 10 foot, 9-inch broad jump, 76 reps on the bench, 19.19 gauntlet, or mile per hour in the gauntlet. He looks really good. Jalen Royals, Utah State, almost identical to Luther Burden, honestly. Height, weight, his arms are shorter, his hands are bigger, his top speed's a little slower, his 40's a little slower, his 10-yard split's better. Luther Burden didn't jump, so we can't compare the jumps, and his gauntlet was just a little bit slower. The third slowest in the last 3 years, actually, is what Jalen Royals had. Luther Burden had the fourth slowest. 16.91 compared to 16.95. But Jalen Royals was injured a lot of the year, had a foot injury that he was still recovering from. That he might still, I don't think he's recovering from it, but he might not be at full strength, I guess. I mean, I don't think he was hurt when he ran, but like he might not have completely regained the same agility, acceleration, just strength and athleticism that he had in the joint before it got hurt, and got rid of the atrophy in the muscles while he was healing. I mean, that's why for him to measure as close to Burden, considering that, I think he was more productive. He looked better. Not Utah State, so you got to take into account competition. But Luther Burden only looked good against bad competition. Against South Carolina, against Alabama, against Arkansas, against a number of teams, he did not look good. He only looked good against like UMass and fucking Buffalo. I don't even know. His schedule was so soft when he actually produced. And that's in 2023 too. Isaiah Bond, same thing. He was injured. He had a rookie starting quarterback at Alabama, but he looked good. He made plays. Then he comes to UT. It's a new system, new offense, new quarterback. Quinn Ewers isn't the best at adapting to wide receivers initially, and he isn't the best with fast receivers, as evidenced by Xavier Worthy and his inability to really connect with him throughout their whole career, or his whole career. But then Quinn Ewers gets an oblique injury, so that kind of messes up with any chemistry that they had. Then Isaiah Bond gets an ankle injury, and it's just one of those seasons where maybe it didn't click right, but he measured great. 4.39 40. Everyone tried to clown him because he said he was going to break Xavier Worthy's record. But he was still the fast wide receiver at 24.17 miles per hour, and with the top speed in the 40, which was first by a significant amount, I think. Dante Thornton at 23.66, I think, was second. So yeah, he was like 0.6 faster than second place. So he definitely was the fastest wide receiver at the draft. Now, why his 40 time wasn't better, I guess, just bad fundamentals. I mean, it's a track. You're in a sprinter stance. You have sprinter progression. I guess you have the start at the gun. Then you have, I guess, the drive where your first 10-yard split where your head's down and you're just driving your legs, high knee in. Then you have a transition into, I guess, a sprint or a stride short to long strut or whatever, with your head up. And anyways, if everything ain't right, it ain't gonna happen, I guess. For whatever reason, it wasn't his day, but he still was able to run fast and showed what his top end speed is and his explosion is. He had 18.75 in the gauntlet too, which is damn near 2 miles per hour faster than Luther Burden, who ran a 16.95. Why I keep throwing jabs at Luther Burden is because they talk about how explosive he is. And they also talk about how he was a winner at the combine, how he proved doubters wrong or did what he needed to do at the combine, and I disagree completely. But if he's explosive, then everyone ahead of him is more explosive because they did just as good, if not better, at the combine than him. So that's another part of it, I guess. Like, if he's explosive, then everyone's fucking explosive. And then they talk about, well, you see it on film. Do you? Because I see Malachi Moore shutting him down. I see fucking, what the fuck is his name? God damn. I can't think of his fucking name now. I hate when I draw a blank. South Carolina, Emanwari, Nick Emanwari, I guess. I see him shutting him down. I see a lot of times where he is not able to run away from defense. Like A&M, he did actually get some yards, but that was in garbage time when they were down by 40 points. It was all like in the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter. So if Luther Burden's explosive, then every one of these dudes is explosive. I mean, no one's explosive, basically. It's like fucking Incredibles with everyone being super, no one is. I mean, because you're just throwing it out there now. You're just giving it away. Andrew Armstrong is 13. Arkansas, just like Isaac Tesla. Horrible quarterback. Like Taylor Green, I think, was their quarterback. He's athletic. I mean, he's intriguing, but he's not a good thrower of the ball right now. He didn't have a great season. They didn't have a good scheme. There wasn't a lot of opportunities, but with the opportunities they both had, they both did pretty well. And we got Tesla higher because he just seems freakier and rarer. I mean, he put up some ridiculous numbers at the combine, and then you watch the film, and man, he's very strong at the catch point. He's very good route runner, good at creating separation, attacks the ball with his hands, and a pain to bring down. I mean, it's 6'4", 214. With that explosiveness and athleticism, you'd imagine he wouldn't be easy, and he's not. Andrew Armstrong was a lot of the same things, a little better probably for jump balls and 70-30s because of his wingspan and catch radius, but Tesla was 6 of 7 on contested catches, and caught like 35 of 40 targets or something. I mean, no one was more efficient than Isaac Tesla. If he was able to get the volume of other dudes, obviously his efficiency would go down a little bit, but I mean, considering how well he did with what he got, I mean, you give him a little bit more, he's an All-American, I feel like. Andrew Armstrong on the flip side was leading receiver the last 2 years, so I'm not going to take that from him either in that horrific offense. We got Torrey Horton at 14, injured most of this year, but going off of the 2023 tape, could have went pro last year. It was a deep wide receiver class, so I guess he decided to return. Then he goes to the combine, he tests how he did, so he shows that he's fully recovered. 77-inch wingspan, but not really long arms. Roughly the same 40 and top speed as Luther Burden. So once again, if Luther Burden's explosive, I guess Torrey Horton is too. And yeah, I got him wide receiver 14. Just had a Jack Besh. Steve Smith recently said Jack Besh isn't a wide receiver, that he's a tight end. I don't know about that. I think that's a little harsh, especially considering he ran a 6'8", 4'3" cone. But he doesn't have the biggest vertical. 19 reps on the bench is pretty good. 17.63 gauntlet mile per hour isn't the best. Catch radius isn't the best, but he looks good. He's smart, savvy. Could be a Puka Nacua. It's hard to say. Luther Burden at 16, the infamous. He's one of the youngest in the draft. He's got a decent catch rates for his size. He does have small hands. He does have some run after the catch and definitely some special teams as a returner ability. I actually think he's a really good returner. He's good with the ball in his hands. He might be actually more a running back than a wide receiver. I say that mainly because I didn't see him run a large variety of routes, and the lack of production and downfield production especially just raises concerns as whether or not he's able to be a true wide receiver without manufactured touches, jet sweeps, and other things like that. Which I also think kind of does a good job of boosting his missed tackles forced stats. I mean, if you're out in space at or behind the line of scrimmage getting the ball and able to attack defenders with a running start in one-on-one situations, you probably should make that defender miss, especially out on the edge with like a DB or something who's probably not a good tackler to begin with. He's not really making middle linebackers miss. He's not making really physical safeties miss. He didn't make Malachi Moore miss. He didn't make Nick Imwari miss. There's a lot of NFL talent or, good defensive players that he didn't make miss. That he was easily tackled in the open field and shut down and contained. So I feel like that's more on par with what he'll experience in the NFL as far as the type of athletes he'll go up against and the type of athletes he'll have to go one-on-one against. And I feel like in the NFL he'll fail to make big plays just like he did in college. I mean, I don't know what's so bad about the situation. Theo Weiss was in the same situation. He had almost as many missed tackles forced, except he had more routes, more downfield production, and he had almost 250 more yards than Luther Burden, but less receptions. Luther Burden had more volume, had more opportunity to do better. And sure, his catch percentage looks great. Well, it's all screens. It's all fucking passes to an open receiver at the line of scrimmage. Like, yeah, you should catch that. So if you're going off analytics and talking about how great his analytics are, well, there's context to that. So that's where I'm at. If you go off his 2023 film, there's context to that too, because after week 6, it looked just like 2024. You take the first 6 games away, which he did have 2 SEC opponents. I think it was Florida and Kentucky. No, Vanderbilt. It's Florida and Vanderbilt. And Vanderbilt had 1 win, I think, that year. So that wasn't like the Vanderbilt this year that was actually pretty good. That was a really bad Vanderbilt. And that Florida team wasn't good either, especially at defense. I mean, Jayden Daniels ran all over them up the middle. I mean, you had dudes downfield, 40 yards in coverage, and they couldn't cut off the running lanes or tackle Jayden Daniels as he's running 70 yards for a touchdown. So, there was not any fucking defensive talent on that Florida team last year. But yeah, he did do good against Florida and Vanderbilt. He did good his first 6 weeks. After that, not so much. And that's including 2024. I mean, he had 6 weeks of production, and followed by 16 months of mediocrity at best. And people are holding on to that first 6 weeks like it's like that is the player that you're going to get. Like that's who he is. And it's like, I mean, I feel like the 16 months is more of the player you're going to get than the 6 weeks. And if you want to go off his freshman year, that was a lot of fucking what you saw the second half of 2023 and all of 2024 too. But he was a freshman, so I'm not really going to put a lot of weight into that. But in 2023, he showed something. He looked like he was something. Like I said, the first 6 weeks. It's not like it was the last 6 weeks. Like he got better as the season went on. No, he started the season game busters, was lighting it up. I think through the first 6 weeks, he was the number 1 wide receiver in the country. He led the nation in receiving yards and receptions, everything. And fell off hard. And people want to try to drop Tet right now when all he did is produce both seasons, all season. Sure, he might have had some off games or whatever. But I saw him against Travis Hunter, and he looked good against Travis Hunter. He could have drawn 2 or 3 penalties against Travis Hunter. The Big 12 is the worst officiating conference, and the fucking Power 5, Power 4, whatever the fuck it is now. And they want to try to drop him down to wide receiver 3, and some got him outside the top 15, outside the top 20. I don't get it. he won his fair share of battles against Travis Hunter, who people have as the top corner in this draft. So we didn't see Luther Burden do that to any cornerback. Now, whether or not he was able to do the quarterback play, but I mean, Brady Cook played half the games. And Brady Cook's might get drafted. He's like an NFL quarterback. Like, he was at the combine. Noah Fafita wasn't. Ashton Daniels wasn't. Rocco Besch, I guess, is Iowa State's quarterback. He actually did pretty good. He's not draft eligible, I don't think, yet. But even if he was, he wouldn't go to the draft. Taylor Green wasn't. Taylor Green's not in the draft. A lot of dudes had bad quarterback play. Had bad situations. TCU's quarterback ain't getting fucking drafted. I got 2 TCU guys ahead of him. Got 2 Arkansas guys ahead of him. I could have 2 Maryland guys ahead. I could have Caden Prather ahead of him too, really. Like I said, I can only drop him so far. At some point, due to his age, his youth, and he does have some traits. I mean, it's not like it's all negative here. It's just I have to come off negative because everyone's so positive, which I don't get. He is not a top 10 wide receiver in my opinion. 16 maybe is too low, but I'm picking some dudes ahead of him. Like I said, I mean, I got 2 89s, 3 88s, and 3 87s. He's the top 86, I guess, which he's the same rating as Kyle Williams. I could put Kyle Williams ahead of him. I could put Jalen Lane and Trey Harris ahead of him. And when it comes to Dante Thornton, Ja'Cory Brooks, they have things I like the catch radius, the size, with the speed. Ja'Cory Brooks, we don't have an actual speed for him yet, but I assume he's fast. He was the fastest gauntlet, 19.71, or second fast, I guess. Jordan Watkins was the fastest at 19.78. So to be 6'2", I thought he was 6'3", and I thought he was going to have 32. He does basically have 32-inch arm, 31 and a quarter. Or three quarters. So he's got a decent catch radius, 9-inch hands, but it's tough. Kyle Williams, Jalen Lane, I like them both. They're almost identical as far as height and weight. Jalen Lane definitely has a bigger catch radius and bigger hands, also faster, more explosive, 40-inch vertical, 11-foot broad. 6.75 3-cone, which was the fastest 3-cone, I guess, that we have up here. 4.12 20-yard shuttle, which is the second fastest after 6'4" Isaac Tesla. But him and Jalen Noel, 23 miles per hour, top speed in the 40, 4.39 40, 1.51 10-yard split, 4.17 20-yard shuttle, 6.82 3-cone, 41.5-inch vert, 11-foot 2-inch broad, 23 reps on the bench is insane. He's 5'10", 194. Jalen Lane, 5'10", 191. He has the catch radius in the arms. Jalen Noel only has 29.5-inch arms, 8 3/4-inch hands. I didn't mention that. Jalen Lane, 77 and a 1/4-inch wingspan, 31 and 3/4-inch arms, almost 32-inch arms for someone 5'10". That's a hell of a plus wingspan. 10-inch hands, basically. So, 1.25 inches bigger hands. 23.27 top speed mile per hour compared to 23.18. 4.34 40 compared to 4.39. A 1.50 10-yard split. 1.51. You got a 4.12 20-yard shuttle compared to a 4.17. 6.75 3-cone compared to 6.82. 40-inch vertical compared to a 41.5-inch vertical, 11-foot broad compared to 11.2, and then the big gap is 14 reps compared to 23, and then the gauntlet, he ran 17.93 miles per hour in the gauntlet. Jalen Noel, 18.89 miles per hour in the gauntlet. Jalen Noel had a little bit better production, but he was also in a better situation. I don't know about Jalen Lane's age either. Some of these dudes don't have their age, and that's annoying. So I went searching for it. I couldn't get, clear sources or trustworthy sources or clear, identification of some of these guys' age. And looking at their college history, some had COVID years, some were junior college transfers. So he started in that. I mean, they could be close to 25 years old, like Tyrone Tracy or something. So I didn't want to guess off of that either because they could have been early enrollee. They could have reclassified. They could have been young for their class or their cycle. Who knows? But I would say Savion Williams, Isaac Tesla. They're at least 23 years old. Isaiah Nair, I mean, they're at least 23, maybe even 24 years old, some of those dudes. So those dudes are going to be a little older. I don't really hold it against them. Not really a thing for me. Due to the traits and what they bring to the table and just how excited I am to see them in possible better situations with better production. And obviously draft capital or NFL team fall in love with them would make it a little more exciting, but this is my list. This is how I view them. If I was a GM, this is how I would rank them and how I would approach them, prioritize them. So just because the NFL doesn't do it doesn't mean that's going to change me at all. I'm not in the NFL. I don't work for the NFL. The NFL doesn't deem me worthy enough, so I'm either wrong or they're wrong. I don't want to be like the NFL because I'm not like the NFL. I see things a little different. I do things my way. Likewise, when I look at them, I think of the offense I'd put them in and how I'd use them too, so that's not always fair either. I have an idea of how I'd use Savion Williams. I have an idea how I'd use Isaac Tesla, Isaiah Bond, so on. And honestly, when I look at Luther Burden, the way I'd have to use Luther Burden is similar to some of those dudes, but I just am not excited about him as I am the other guys, and I don't feel like he's as versatile as the other guys. But a lot of those dudes, they would be used similarly to Luther Burden. But I feel like when that's taken away or when that doesn't work or when I don't want to use that, I can use the other guys a lot more ways and have a lot better probability of, success or, more production from them in those other areas than I will with Luther Burden, in my opinion. And it pains me to put him ahead of Kyle Williams and Jalen Lane, honestly. It does. It really fucking does. I mean, I'm saying right, I don't think I could take him over Jalen Lane. But like I said, Jalen Lane might be 23, 24. I'm trying to take that into account because I'm doing it with quarterbacks too. Like, people are high on Tyler Shuck. He's like 25 and a half years old. And you got Quinn Ewers and Jackson Dart that are like 22. So you're like 3 years older. And when you think about the limited, reps that Quinn Ewers has, I mean, he missed half his junior year. He missed his whole senior year of high school. He redshirted his freshman year and didn't touch the field with Ohio State. And then, he was a starter 3 years with UT, but he was injured every year. He missed games every year. They went to the playoffs and they went to conference championships 2 of those years. So, he got quite a bit of games and he played in all those. But as far as, chemistry and maybe playing hurt, not being fully recovered, and then having wide receivers get hurt, like Bond, and I think JT Sanders was hurt in 2023. Jonathan Brooks got hurt too, so it changed the running back game. I don't know. He loses his left tackle in 2024 a little bit too for a game or two. It's tricky. I'm trying to, put it all together. Some of it's not going to add up right. Some of it's not going to be valued properly or scouted properly because of different nuances of it. But Luther Burden being young, I'm trying to use that. Like, there's still time. He can still grow. He's still green. But the fact that he didn't really grow and evolve that much at Missouri, and the fact that in that same situation, Theo Weiss was pretty productive, or Weiss, or however you pronounce his name. And there was at one point, he had just as many missed tackles as Luther Burden. They were like first and second in college football. So, like, he was being used the same way. He was doing the same exact stuff against the same exact opponents. But no one's talking about how explosive Theo Weiss is either. So, it's just, it bothers me. I don't know. When you really look at it, I think they're wrong. I mean, there's always a bust. There's always someone who's not going to live up to it, and I think it's easily Luther Burden in this year's draft, personally. But he's young enough and talented enough to prove me wrong. I will admit that. And for his sake and whatever team drafts him, I hope he does. Obviously, for my own sake and just, for being right and accurate, I hope he doesn't. But I'm not going to root against him. I'm making my argument. I'm explaining my reasons, and I'll leave it at that. That's done and dusted, and we'll have the draft and 2025 season to see, I guess, and future seasons beyond that. I mean, his story isn't done after his rookie year. I'm assuming he's probably not going to have a great rookie year, considering how green he is and how I already don't expect much of him. But maybe he comes a long way in year 2 or 3. I mean, he ends up being a beast. Talked about Kyle Williams, Jalen Lane, so we'll go to Trey Harris. Trey Harris is another one that maybe I'm a little low on. He's a tricky one too. The mile per hour speed wasn't great. Catch radius is okay. He does have the jumps and he has the production. He was good 2 years there, but that offense and with Jackson Dart, and maybe he was carrying Jackson Dart, maybe he's just really good. But I look at Jordan Watkins too, who's just a couple below him, and he could be higher. I might be too low on him as well. He's just very similar to Jalen Noel and Jalen Lane. I mean, he's right in the same fucking category of them, and I mean they're all basically clones. I mean, like they're so fucking similar. It's ridiculous. 5'11", 196. He's got the shortest arms and maybe 9 1/8 hands. I don't think he's the smallest hands out of that bunch, but 23.53 mile per hour top speed. That's third overall, I think. 4.3740. I think that puts him. He's slightly faster than Jalen Noel. 1.53 split. He's got the slowest split. He's got the worst verticals, but he's got the fastest gauntlet. I think the fastest gauntlet overall, actually. So, and once again, he was productive last year. He's productive this year in the Ole Miss offense with Lane Kiffin, scheming up pretty good. And so, just like with the quarterback, how much was the offense? How much was it just the plethora of weapons and defenses having to defend so much stuff, and just Lane Kiffin being an offensive genius? But you see the numbers, and he tested extremely well. So obviously, he, regardless of what scheme he was in, he's gonna make plays. He's explosive. He's a problem, and he's got good hands. And yeah, you try to put it all together. Once again, it's not easy. We're gonna miss on some of these things. We're gonna misread some of these things. We're gonna misdiagnose some of the situations, some of the production, some of the testing. I look at multiple years. I like to look at him in high school. That's why Ja'Cory Brooks, being a high 4-star, borderline 5-star, and actually being pretty productive as a freshman at Alabama. Then injuries and then lack of production. Then he goes to fucking Louisville, and I already mentioned Tyler Shough. Tyler Shough goes to Louisville from Texas Tech. They both kind of go in there, first year transfers. Fucking go game busters, dog. And then, he had one of the fastest gauntlets. I wish he was a little bit taller. I wish he had longer arms, bigger hands, bigger catch radius. I wish he did some testing so we get an idea on the speed and athleticism. But from Alabama and even at Louisville, you can tell he's pretty athletic. And that gauntlet, running at 19.71 in the gauntlet, catching the ball and running that fast, getting his head around, getting his hands up, keeping his feet in front of him, and catching the ball seamlessly without losing any speed. That's pretty tough. I mean, that kind of says a little bit. I mean, that's well, it's like math. Like, you can be a math major, or you can take engineering or business and apply it. This is applied athleticism. We don't really know how fast he is or his 40 time, but the gauntlet is kind of applying that. It's showing how you are looking at a ball, running, catching. You don't really tuck it. You kind of just possess it and drop it. But, I mean, getting your head around, getting up, being alert, concentrating on something coming at you, and doing so without... Luther Burden did it at 16.95. Ja'Cory Brooks did it at 19.71. Almost 3 miles per hour faster. 3 miles per hour faster almost. Like, if Luther Burden had a good combine, doing it in 16.95, and whatever, then I'd say Ja'Cory Brooks did all right with that. There's no doubt in my mind Luther Burden could have done it faster. I'm just curious why he didn't. And honestly, when you watch this film, you don't see him catching the ball over the middle a lot. You don't see him catching the ball running a lot. He's usually standing still at or behind the line of scrimmage catching a screen. Or catching like a pass that's like 5 foot. I think these passes are going about 20 yards, 15 yards. They're all lined up. But I don't know what the distance is between the quarterback and the receiver. And like I said, he's not running full speed. And I feel like that's what you saw in the gauntlet. You saw someone who's not capable of catching the ball, or not used to running full speed catching the ball. Not used to running downfield routes. Or he did actually have one of the fastest go routes. But overall, a lot of his routes were some of the slowest. Now, maybe he was just concentrating on running the route and catching the ball. But if you have to concentrate that hard on it, that tells me it's something you're not confident with. It doesn't come natural, in my opinion. Or you're just not competitive and you're lazy. I mean, it's got to be one or the other. Because if you're competitive and you're going out there and giving 110%, yet this is what you're putting up, is subpar numbers, then, I mean, one of them's got to be true, I feel like. Because you're not that comfortable and that good and that athletic, but putting up numbers that slow and not being lazy or not, lacking competitiveness or, really just not caring. This is a job interview. Like, yeah, I don't know. It's a red flag for me. I mean, running 140 when typically you go run faster the second 40. Like, why would you only run? You just ran one and you're like, you're good? And like, it wasn't that good. I mean, when he ran, I think he had like the 5th fastest time, but like, you had to know other people were going to run after you, and yeah, they ran faster than you. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, I guess 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I got 11 dudes with faster 40s and like 2 others with the same speed of 40. And like 3 or 4 others with faster top mile per hour and 10-yard splits than you. And you're supposed to be explosive. That's what you're banking on. That's what everyone is. They're putting that cap on you. Like, you're an explosive player, one of the most explosive players in this draft. Get the ball in his hands and he can do things other people can't do. Yet I'm looking at the testing numbers and I'm seeing people can not only do it, but they can do it better than you. And then you look at the film and it's like, oh shit, they do it better than you. Gotta keep going back to Luther Burden. Because they all kind of tie into it. Because like I said, I'm annoyed that I actually got him higher than some of these guys. I'm annoyed I got to put him on the list. If everyone else didn't have him top 5, I don't even think he'd be in my top 25, honestly. Like, I can look at the lack of production, I can watch the film, and I can see Tesla, I can see Jalen Lane, I can be like, oh, that's just the situation. When I look at Burden, I don't see that being the situation. I'm sorry, I don't. I can look at Loveland. I can look at Elik Ayamanor. I can see that's the situation. Was Luther Burden's situation great? No, but Theo Weiss did fine in it. And he had Brady Cook half the year. Brady Cook's an NFL quarterback. Brady Cook was at the combine. Brady Cook will probably get drafted. Whether or not he makes a team and actually makes an NFL roster, I guess he would have to do that to establish himself as an NFL quarterback. I don't know. Anyways, another one in a bad situation, Dante Thornton Jr. Sure, he had Nico Via. I don't know how to say his name. I suck at pronouncing names, but Nico is not a polished passer. He's not a finished product as a passer, as a pocket passer. Matter of fact, what did Nico do this past year? Taylor Green threw for 3,100 yards at 60% completion percentage. How about that? 138 rating. I didn't know he did that good. Nico, 2,600 yards, 63.8%, 7.8 yard average. So, not great. As a team, they threw the ball for 2,900 yards. So 661 for Thornton, 472 for Brew McCoy, 381 for Squirrel White. But Thornton had 6 touchdowns, 26 receptions, 6 of them were touchdowns. He had an 86-yard long, a 25-yard average, so he was definitely a downfield threat. But seeing that number of touchdowns, I feel like he was also a red zone threat. There was a tight end that had 4, so maybe Kitzelman was also competing for some of that red zone usage. And there was 22 rushing touchdowns for Dylan Sampson. So they obviously tried to run it in most of the time. But, yeah, I feel like 6 touchdowns on 26 receptions is pretty wild percentage. And I just feel like there's a lot of meat on the bone with him. There's a lot of untapped potential with him. So Arkansas threw the ball for 3,600 yards almost, 3,571. 8.3 yard average. Andrew Armstrong had 1,100 yards receiving, 78 receptions. I didn't know he had that much, actually. He only had 1 touchdown. That's a little bothersome. Luke Haas had 4, who might be tight end 1 next year. He just transferred to, where did he go? Damn, they don't have it on ESPN. Did he go to Ole Miss? Man, that's bothering me. Anyways, we're not talking about him. We'll talk about him in our Devy on the Flexible Fantasy Football brand. We do the Devy. Anyways, Brady Cook threw for 2,500 yards. But Missouri threw for almost 3,000 yards. 2,900 yards, I guess. Theo Weiss, 884 yards. Luther Burton, 676. Luther Burton had 1 more reception than Theo Weiss. Theo Weiss had a 70-yard long compared to a 44-yard long. What was his long every year? 70, 77, 61. Now in 2022, he was at Oklahoma. But, so 61 in 2022, 77 in 2023, 70 in 2024. Those are his longs. Let's Luther Burden. His long in his career was 56. His long last year was 44. His long in 2022 was 35. He has never been a downfield, explosive, home run threat. Now, he did have 9 touchdowns in 2023. He even had 6 this past year. But I feel like a lot of that's designed, manufactured touches at the line of scrimmage where you're getting him in motion, you're getting him running start. Because clearly he wasn't beating people over the top with an 11.1 yard average and a 44 yard long. I mean, his second longest reception, which I can't accurately say because he might have had 2 receptions over 40 yards against Boston College. But 33, 37 against South Carolina, 33 against Oklahoma. No other catches over 30 yards. Once again, unless he had multiple against Boston College or something, because I'm only looking at the long. He had 4 touchdowns in the first 4 weeks. Vanderbilt, Boston College, Buffalo, and who is this? Murray State. He had 76 yards against Vanderbilt, 117 against Boston College. He went over 70 yards 2 more times. 82 against Texas A&M, which most of that was in garbage time as the game was out of hand. With 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. That 27-yard long came in that time span. And then 91 against Mississippi State. Against Alabama, he had 3 receptions for 3 yards. A 3-yard long. So, I mean, he lost yards on his other 2 receptions, or at least one of them. Or got 0 yards. 49 yards against Auburn at 8.2 yard average. 8.6 yard average, 69 yards against South Carolina. 1 reception for 11 yards against Arkansas. He didn't really contribute to his team's success. He had 2 touchdowns after the first 4 weeks. 1 against South Carolina, 1 against Mississippi State. He went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks without a touchdown before he had another touchdown. But he had fucking 7 receptions, 5 receptions, 6 receptions, 3 receptions, 5 receptions, 8 receptions, 7 receptions. He had volume. He had opportunity. He just wasn't able to bust them loose. He wasn't able to create. All those missed tackles that he was forcing didn't lead to any production. 61 receptions at 676 yards. I don't get it. He was the 18th leading receiver in the SEC. Wait, that's yards wise. He was the 3rd leading receiver in the SEC on receptions. So he had the 3rd most receptions. And that got him the 18th rank in yards. That's what I'm saying. It was all manufactured, jet sweep, screen bullshit. Kevin Coleman, who's going to be his replacement, and I actually saw something that said he was Luther Burden 2.0, which is funny because Kevin Coleman was draft eligible and didn't go pro. Looks more explosive, was more productive, in a worse situation. Mississippi State's situation wasn't great. Van Buren was a true freshman, and then they benched him. They threw for 2,900 yards, roughly the same amount of yards. He had as many touchdowns, had a better average, had more receptions and more yards, and a longer long. He looks like a more complete receiver. If he was in this draft, I'd have him higher than Luther Burden. That's super funny that I guess a Missouri fan actually said Luther Burden 2.0. So apparently he's either super hype about Kevin Coleman trying to hype him up, or he sees the same flaws that I saw in Luther Burden. Andrew Armstrong actually led the SEC in receptions and yards. And Trey Harris was 2nd. But yeah, tying for 3rd with Aaron Anderson for reception. Aaron Anderson at 884 yards. Theo Weiss, his teammate, had 60 receptions for 884 yards. Trey Harris, 60 receptions, 1,000 yards. Gunnar Helm, 60 receptions, 786 yards. No one's talking about how explosive Gunnar Helm is. He had a longer long. He had a 49-yard long and 7 touchdowns. No one's talking about Gunnar Helm at all. Fucking tight end for UT, if those I don't know. He's a sleeper tight end, by the way. Kyron Lacey, 58, 866. Matthew Golden, 58, 987. People want to talk about how bad his analytics are. He had 9 touchdowns, 17-yard average. Fucking... He was at Houston with Donovan Smith. He had 400 yards, 584 yards as a true freshman. Then 400 yards. He had kind of a step back as a sophomore. 7 touchdowns, 6 touchdowns, 9 touchdowns. Was productive, or was a touchdown getter every year. Was a good returner. But then he produces at the end of the year. Fucking November 23rd against Kentucky. 7 receptions, 86 yards. Against A&M, 3 receptions, 73 yards. SEC Championship game, 8 receptions, 162 yards. Didn't have the best game against Clemson, 2 receptions, 49 yards. Then Arizona State, 7 receptions, 149 yards, including a 2-point conversion and a touchdown in overtime to win the game. And then Ohio State, he didn't show up, but 2 receptions, 51 yards, not the worst. But there's no manufactured touches here. And that's not really Steve Sarkisian's offense. I wish it was a little bit because it could be an extension of the run game. But for whatever reason, we don't really do that. He wants to kind of throw the ball downfield. He wants to stretch the defense. He wants to spread the ball out, and that also helps create lanes for the running backs. A lot of RPO shit or whatever. Not that Quinn Ewers is a runner, but there's a lot of run pass option, not really run like quarterback run option. And then people try to just talk about his analytics. It's wild to me. This is just stats. It's just one part. I mean, you have the combine, you have the testing, the measurements, you have the film, you have career production, you have injury history. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it, but Jordan Watkins, 49 receptions, 906 yards, 18.5 yard average, 75 yard long, 9 touchdowns. No one's talking about Jordan Watkins at all. I mean, I just feel like I got to stick up for all these dudes because Keandre Lambert-Smith is really surprised me. 50 receptions, 981 yards, 19.6 yard average, a 67 yard long, 8 touchdowns for Auburn, who had like 2 true freshmen starting for him. And they had 673 last year too, so it wasn't a 1 year wonder. Now he's old. 2020 was his freshman. He's been in college 5 years. He started at Penn State. So, yeah, he got 673 at Penn State a year ago, which was awful. Did he lead them? Was he the leading receiver at Penn State? That's Tyler Warren. I want to look at 2023. He was. He led Penn State in receiving ahead of Tyler Warren. Tyler Warren had 7 touchdowns, 75 yard long that year, too. So then he transfers. He's graduate assistant because he didn't have any more eligibility at Penn State. He goes to Auburn and just leads Auburn in fucking receiving too. They throw for fucking 3,100 yards. He got 981 of them. True freshman Cam Coleman got 600 of them. They both had 8 touchdowns. Cam Coleman's gonna be fucking good, but Keandre Lambert, he's a sleeper too. I'm curious about him because he was on awful offenses with awful quarterback play at Penn State. Then he goes to Auburn and he experiences basically the same fucking thing. I mean, they had Hank Brown and Peyton Thorne as starting quarterbacks. I don't think either one of them is there still. Neither one is going to be their starting quarterback next year, I don't think. Peyton Thorne doesn't look the worst. 21 touchdowns, 9 picks, 150 quarterback rating. I'm going off on a tangent now. We're just losing our mind. But I'm trying to just put, something to the numbers. This is what I do. I do a lot of research. I look at all this shit, and I come up with shit. I try to explain shit. So, I could easily put Kyle Williams, Jalen Lane, Trey Harris, Dante Thornton, Ja'Cory Brooks, Jordan Watkins, Keandre Lambert-Smith, hell, Shamir DK. There's definitely a story there. Fucking Graham Mertz, who sucks. The year before that, was Graham Mertz there too? I don't remember who their quarterback was in 2023. Wasn't good. Then you got a true freshman, DJ Lagway, who was more of a dual threat. I mean, definitely is not a finished product as a passer. Or, and he tests amazing. His teammate, Elijah Badger, I think a transfer from Wisconsin. Or maybe I'm just saying that because of Badger. Maybe DK was from Wisconsin. I don't remember exactly. Let's go back to that SEC rank and see if we can find Shamir DK. So DK is from Wisconsin. Let's go to the Florida statistics. Elijah Badger actually led the team, though, and tested very well, too. They're about the same measurements. He was from Arizona State, that's right. Man, he led Arizona State in 2022 and 2023, I think. I feel like he did. Yep, he led him in 2023. He led him in 2022. So he led his team 3 years in a row in receiving yards. And 2 different teams. I mean, 2022, 2023, Arizona State, and then 2024, Florida. No one's talking about Elijah Badger either. I don't have him on my list. He just barely missed my top 25. So, and that's because Isaiah Nair. who you can put a story to too. He was at Wyoming. He transferred to UT. He got injured in spring football. Basically never played for UT. Transfers to Nebraska this year. They have a true freshman quarterback in Dylan Raiola starting for him. Wasn't a lot of opportunity. Wasn't great. And then he goes and he tests. He's 6'4", 218 pounds. Fucking 34.5-inch arms. 82.5-inch wingspan. Runs a 4.4 flat 40. Faster than Luther Burden. 22.6 mile per hour top speeds. A little bit slower than Luther Burden. About 0.2. 1.51 10-yard split. That's faster than Luther Burden. So I guess he's more explosive or has better acceleration. 30-inch vertical. 11 foot 1 inch broad, which I think is the second best to Jalen Noel, 11.2. 17.34 gauntlet mile per hour. Not really fast, but faster than Luther Burden again. But he's showing that he's recovered from injury and that ACL, which he still might be recovering from. And you look at his efficiency and his grades and his stats, and it's not bad. It's not bad. You can create a narrative where you can argue he could be very good in the NFL. That he's got a lot of untapped potential. So I'm curious about that. Another one that I like that's not on the list is Nick Nash. San Jose State wide receiver, led them the last 2 years as a wide receiver. He spent his first 3 years as a quarterback and then changed positions. So he's still green to the position. He's kind of like Luke McCaffrey in that sense. But he led the nation in receptions and yards for wide receivers, I believe. Which is wild. So, even being green and having a lot to learn, he's still very talented. He had 16 touchdowns. He led college football in touchdowns, too. Didn't test as well as I wanted to, so that's why he didn't make the list. I was high on him originally. He was probably in my top 20, close to my top 15, but that's another sleeper. This wide receiver class is deep. Kind of shown by the ratings. I mean, wide receiver 16 is an 86, and wide receiver 25 is an 82. I think that's the same tier. Yeah, C tier, 82 to 87. So we got 92 to 88 being the same tier, and then we got wide receiver 13, Andrew Armstrong, 87, all the way to wide receiver 25 being in the same tier technically. And I think there was a couple other 82s. Nick Nash might have been 82. Elijah Badger might have been 82. I just stopped at 25 just because you got to stop somewhere. I don't know how many wide receivers are going to get drafted. And my grades might be a little high. It's hard to tell the difference. It's hard to split hairs. That tier, the 82 tier, is a 3rd to 5th round pick. It's close to, I guess. Yeah, there might be like 20 receivers, I guess, taken in the first 5 rounds. I'm not sure. It depends on the draft. It depends on the talent overall, too, of the draft, as far as other position groups and stuff like that. But I could easily see these 25 wide receivers getting drafted. I could see any one of the 25 being the best wide receiver, too. I mean, it's unlikely Isaiah Nair suddenly ends up going game busters, but those traits, that athleticism, and he was pretty good at Wyoming. The last time he was kind of in a situation where he was healthy and he was able to play and was, wide receiver 1, generating a lot of volume and targets. He's been recovering from injury and transferring and adapting to new systems and new quarterbacks and new situations. And obviously that's going to take a toll or distract you a little bit. It could, affect how you perform and your ability to produce, especially given the offense or the quarterback and things like that. But I'm not sure he's going to come out the gate and just, be like Cooper Kupp or Puka Nacua. But Keandre Lambert-Smith absolutely could. I mean, he led the Penn State. He led Auburn. Elijah Badger leading Arizona State and leading Florida. He could. Shamir Dike come from Wisconsin, which was awful. And then going to Florida maybe could. He ran a 4.3 40 at 6'1", almost 200 pounds. He had a 6.823 cone, almost 40-inch vertical. I mean, when you look at these fucking, and then you had the nerve to call Luther Burden explosive. He has some of the worst numbers on this fucking chart. Statistically, combine-wise, measurements are physically. I mean, the 4.4 140 below him, there's everyone ran faster except for the 4.54 that Trey Harris ran. Wide receiver 17 all the way to 25 ran faster 40s, and damn near had faster mile per hours. The only one that didn't was Isaiah Nair, who actually ran a faster 40 and a faster 10-yard split and a faster gauntlet. Yeah, everyone below him had a faster gauntlet. So, yeah. I have a hard time calling Luther Burden explosive, and when he doesn't have production, his film doesn't show a lot of downfield receiving ability, a lot of nuanced receiving ability, the ability to run a lot of different routes or beat a lot of different coverages and find holes in zone and create separation downfield like wide receivers typically do. And it just basically consists of a lot of jet sweeps or screens or manufactured touches at or behind the line of scrimmage. I don't know what boxes he's checking. I don't know where he's better than the field at. I don't know what his strengths are, but I can definitely see his weaknesses. And that's concerning. The only thing he really has going for him is he's one of the youngest in the draft. He is a great returner. He is good with the ball in his hands. Which is a reason to try to manufacture touches for him. But also, when he goes up against better teams with NFL talent or NFL type schemes and defenses with NFL type defensive coordinators, they shut him down pretty easily. And it could be the talent around him. They could be the offense he's in. Maybe in the NFL, he'll have better offensive schemes, offensive coordinators, minds, and offensive talent around him. But there's more offensive talent around him, and that's better people to give the ball to. So, yeah, that can go in his favor, but it could go against him too. I mean, he is the riskiest player. He is the hardest player, I think. I don't think he's that hard to project. I think we've seen what he is. Now, whether or not he develops is a different story. But people want to keep saying Missouri used him that way because that's how they chose to use him, or they had to. They used Theo Weiss the same way, but he was able to also do other things besides that. I feel like Luther Burden wasn't. That's what I feel like. I mean, if he was, then they would have. Why wouldn't they have? I get with Drew Pine a little bit, but you had Brady Cook a lot of the games. Played half the games. I mean, Brady Cook led them in passing. Right? What the fuck? And Brady Cook had 2,500 yards passing. It's like, what are we even talking about here? Like, he played in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. He played in 12 fucking games. He had 11 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. 62.6% completion percentage for 2,500 yards. He had a 70-yard pass, a 78-yard pass, a 59-yard pass, a 63-yard pass, a 49-yard pass. None of those went to Luther Burden. He had 2 49-yard passes. The 44-yard pass against Boston College was Luther Burden's. All these downfield passes and completions to someone other than Luther Burden, who's supposed to be the most explosive player in this draft. Much less on Missouri. Apparently not. So what are we even talking about? I don't know. And that's my wide receiver rankings, hour and a half. Just like all my other videos, that's what we do. We love to get it in. It's a BDE presentation, best damn evaluations, because I'm the best damn evaluator. I'm not ashamed to admit it. I'm not scared to say it. Mel Kiper, Todd McShay, Daniel Jeremiah, any of these, Bucky Brooks, fucking Scott Miller. Who's the other dude with ESPN? He's just trash. Andrew Miller, he's trash. I don't know. So even PFF, fucking Trevor Sikkema, trash. Fucking trash. Y'all may have insight into the NFL, GM, and what they're going to do, but, you know, I'm not picking what GMs are going to do. I'm picking what GMs should do. You keep riding their jock and saying what they're going to do and try to predict what they're going to do. I'm trying to predict what they should do. I'm going to predict the winners of this draft, the steals of this draft, the talents in this draft, not the guys that the NFL or some GMs get their dick hard about only to be wrong, like Jalen Ragers or other motherfuckers who are busts, and Kel Harry's and so on. That's not, you know, Clyde Edwards-Hilaire's and shit. Jonathan Taylor was the best running back in that draft, but GMs thought DeAndre Swift and Clyde Edwards-Hilaire was better. Good call. Good job with that. That's what GMs do. I bet some of y'all had the same shit because you heard information or you heard other people talking. You couldn't do your own fucking evaluation or have your own fucking whatever it is. We don't do that over here at the BTTN and the BDE. All right? We stand on our shield. We die with our sword in hand. We ain't scared to fucking have our opinions, you know, our convictions, our laurels. We'll live and die on them. That's why we get money in our pocket. We go to the bar, shout me what you drank. Simping on these hoes. Buying out the bar for this bitch. Hopefully she come home. You want to come home? She'll never come home. It's fine. I don't need you. This is what we do. This is what we do. Hopefully we'll do it for me. And if y'all want to give a motherfucker a job, I can teach you how to do it. But I do have to charge. I got to. I'm not trying to like bite a fucking song. But I can teach you. I can come in there. I can straighten your fucking draft board, your whole evaluation process up. I can give you some fucking insight and intel that's not from GMs. It's just from gut and know-how. Because, I mean, I got this shit figured out. I got the blueprint. And more than happy to give it to you. Anyways, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. I apologize for all the offensiveness. And I'm just direct. You know, I like to say how it is. I like to express why I feel a certain way. And I definitely like to express how I feel, because what's the fucking point of doing this if I'm not going to tell you my opinions and my feelings and why I feel that way? I have to explain it. I have to go in deep, extended detail, elaborate. And I try to do it eloquently and nicely, hopefully professionally or well-spoken, where I'm easily communicating and understandable. Obviously, it's not the most palatable. I'm not the best with graphics. This is a very low budget production we got going on over here. But it's all meat. There's tons of meat on the bone. You know, it's not fake and it's not empty. Like some of those high production places you go. You know, maybe the NFL Stock Exchange. You know, they got the nice bells and whistles. Todd McShay, Mel Kiper with ESPN. They got bells and whistles, but it's empty. You're going to go home hungry or sick because you ate something that was bad. You know, get this high quality meat. You know, it's filet mignon, perfectly cooked, medium rare, nice, edible. Have you begging for more? You'll be a fucking fiend in no time. Don't worry, I got more to come. Anyways, that's all, folks. BDE, we out. Peace out.